Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting day of fun and activities. Today, we will be doing an experiment about the different densities of liquid and few items at home that will sink or float. So let us begin preparing some of the things that we will need for this experiment. First, we will need a newspaper that we will place on our table so that our workspace will not get dirty. I will put it on the center of the table. Then we will need a clear glass and a spoon. Now for today, I have prepared 3 different kinds of liquid. The first that I have is regular water. The next one I have is vegetable oil. And the third liquid that I have is honey syrup. Now we will also need some items that you will be able to find at home. For example, in our kitchen, I have some olives, nata de coco, and some cherries. Then I need some food coloring. And then another few of the items that we will test if they sink or float. A coin, a small piece of sponge, and a mineral water bottle cap. So let's go ahead and prepare our materials for today and begin the experiment. Alright, so once you've prepared your materials, let us set aside these things. We'll start with the glass first, okay? Now with the glass, what we're going to do is we will first pour our first liquid that we're going to pour in is the honey. You can actually use maple syrup if you don't have honey, or any liquid that is a bit syrupy. Okay, so put it in the glass like this. And then, you see, it's dark and it's very syrupy. Okay. Now, watch what happens when I put the water in. The water stays above the syrup. It doesn't sink through because of density. Okay? Now, let's add some watercolor, our food coloring, to the water. And this is the McCormick red food coloring. Let's just add a few. Okay, and don't forget to close that because it might stain on your tablecloth. Now let's use the spoon to mix it. See, even though we've already added the food coloring, it just colored the water but not the syrup on the bottom. Okay, now the third liquid that we're going to add is our vegetable oil. See that? Okay, let's see what happens when we add the vegetable oil. You noticed the oil just stayed on top of the water with the food coloring, and the syrup still remains on the bottom. Okay, now let's add an object to see which one will sink or float. I have this 5 peso coin. Okay, I'm gonna put it inside and let's see. It went down to the bottom. Can you see that? That means the coin sank to the bottom. Now let's see. let's get an olive, for example. Now I'll put the olive in slowly and let's see if it will sink or float. Wow, let's see, it's still sinking a bit. But look, it's there in between the water with food coloring and the syrup. It didn't go all the way down the syrup. Interesting and amazing, right? Let's try this nata de coco. It's a bit slippery, but it's not as heavy as the olive, and it's a little bit spongy. So let's see what will happen. Just like the olive, see? The nata de coco stayed there. I'm assuming that for our cherry, the same thing will happen. So let's try that. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. See? Cherries. Okay. Now let's see. How about our bottle cap? Let's see what happens when we put the bottle cap onto the mixture. Okay. Let's sink it some more and let's see if it'll go down. Hey, neat, it went down, but it stayed in between the water with the food coloring and the vegetable oil. Can you see that? I'll bring my phone in closer. There it is. Okay, now I have this small sponge. Let's see if that will sink or float. Okay, now we have to dip it in the oil a bit for it to absorb the liquid. And there you have it. Actually, even though you've dipped it in a bit for the oil to absorb it, the sponge is still floating on the top. Let me show you. Now, the reason why some of the items were floating and some of the items were not is because of the density of the liquid. So I suggest you try this at home with your mommies and daddies, and you can discover which liquids at home are the ones that will help items sink or float, and which liquids will not mix with water, for example, or other liquids. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Bye!